Prince William sat in his office at Kensington Palace on that cold Tuesday morning. Papers covered his desk. Meeting schedules filled his calendar. But his mind was somewhere else entirely. The night before, a small envelope had arrived with his personal mail. It was different from the hundreds of formal letters he received each week. This one was written in bright purple crayon on yellow paper. The handwriting was shaky and childish. 7-year-old Emma had drawn hearts around her words. She wrote about her little brother Jake, who was very sick in the hospital. The letter said Jake loved princes and castles, but could not play anymore because the medicine made him too tired. Emma asked if Prince William could visit Jake and tell him a story. She promised they would be very good and not ask for toys or money. At the bottom of the letter, Emma had drawn 2 stick figures holding hands. One had a crown and the other was very small. She wrote, "Please help my brother smile again," in letters that went up and down across the page. The word please was spelled please, and it made William remember his own childhood letters to Father Christmas. William could not stop thinking about that letter. He had 3 children of his own. Prince George was about Emma's age. Princess Charlotte was smaller but already very brave. Little Prince Louis made everyone laugh with his funny faces. William tried to imagine how scared he would feel if one of his children was sick like Jake. The thought made his heart hurt. His secretary knocked on the door. She had a list of meetings for the day. There were important people waiting to discuss charity events and royal duties. William looked at his schedule and then looked at Emma's letter again. Something inside him felt different. He made a decision that surprised everyone, including himself. William told his secretary to cancel all his morning meetings. He said he needed to visit a hospital right away. His staff looked confused. Royal visits took weeks to plan. There were security checks and protocols to follow. Media needed advance notice. Hospital staff had to prepare special rooms and safety measures. But William was already putting on his coat. He said this visit was not official business. It was personal. He would drive himself to the hospital. His protection officers could follow behind if they wanted to keep up. The palace staff had never seen Prince William act this way before. He seemed determined, like his mother, Princess Diana, used to be when she wanted to help someone. William drove through London traffic thinking about Jake and Emma. He remembered how scared he felt as a boy when his parents argued. He remembered how his mother would sit on his bed and tell him stories until he fell asleep. Princess Diana always said that listening to children was the most important job any adult could have. She taught William that being royal meant being kind first and important second. The hospital was busy when William arrived. Nurses and doctors were rushing between rooms. Sick children and worried parents filled the waiting areas. Nobody expected to see a prince walk through the front doors without any warning. The security desk guard almost fell off his chair when he recognized William's face. William asked to see Emma and Jake. He did not want any special treatment or ceremony. He just wanted to meet the little girl who wrote him such a brave letter. The hospital staff quickly made phone calls to find Emma's room. They were nervous about having a royal visitor with no preparation time. But William smiled and said he was just a big brother who wanted to help a little brother feel better. His words made everyone relax a little bit. As he walked toward the children's ward, William felt his mother's spirit walking beside him. He knew she would be proud of what he was about to do. The elevator doors opened on the children's floor. William took a deep breath and stepped forward to meet Emma and Jake. He had no idea that this simple act of kindness would change everything. The children's ward was quieter than the rest of the hospital. Colorful paintings covered the walls. Balloons floated near doorways. But underneath the cheerful decorations, everyone could feel the sadness that lived in this place. Prince William walked slowly down the hallway. His expensive shoes made soft sounds on the shiny floor. A young nurse named Sarah saw him first. She was carrying medicine to one of the rooms when she looked up and froze. For a moment, she thought she was seeing things. Prince William smiled at her and asked where he could find Emma and Jake. Sarah's hands started shaking. She had worked at this hospital for 5 years, but never expected to see a member of the royal family walking around like a normal visitor. Sarah led William to room 314. Through the glass window they could see two children. Emma was sitting in a chair next to a small bed. Her brown hair was messy, and her clothes looked like she had slept in them. On the bed was Jake. He was much smaller than William expected. Tubes connected to his thin arms. His face was very pale, but his eyes were bright and curious. When William knocked softly and entered the room, Emma jumped up so fast she almost fell over. Her mouth opened wide, but no words came out. She had written to Prince William, but never really believed he would come. Jake tried to sit up in his bed, but he was too weak. William could see how much effort it took for the little boy just to lift his head. Something magical happened in that moment. All of William's royal training disappeared. He forgot about proper protocol and formal behavior. Instead, he did exactly what his mother, Princess Diana, used to do. He got down on his knees so he could look directly into the children's eyes. He made himself small so they would not feel intimidated by his height or importance. William's voice became soft and gentle. He told Emma how beautiful her letter was and how brave she was to write to him. He said he had 3 children at home who would love to meet her someday. Emma finally found her voice and asked if Prince George really lived in a castle. William laughed and said it was more like a very big house with too many rooms to clean. Then William turned his attention to Jake. The little boy's eyes were full of wonder. William took Jake's small hand very carefully. He could feel how fragile the child was. William began telling Jake stories about his own sons. He described how Prince George loved to play football, but was not very good at it. He talked about Princess Charlotte, who was fearless and climbed trees higher than anyone thought she should. Jake's face began to change. A small smile appeared. Then he started to giggle when William made funny voices for each of his children. The sound of Jake's laughter filled the quiet room like music. Emma clapped her hands together. She had not heard her brother laugh in many weeks. William stayed much longer than anyone expected. He sat on the floor with his legs crossed. His expensive suit got wrinkled. His perfect hair became messy. But he did not care about any of that. He was completely focused on making these 2 children feel special and loved. Other children in nearby rooms heard the laughter. Some of them came to their doorways to see what was happening. Word spread quickly through the ward that a real prince was visiting. Soon William found himself surrounded by curious little faces. Each child had their own story of sickness and fear. Each one needed hope. William moved from bed to bed like his mother used to do. He listened to every story. He held every small hand that reached for his. He promised each child that they were braver than any knight he had ever heard about. His eyes filled with tears when he saw how much these children had to endure every day. Sarah, the nurse, watched from the hallway. She had never seen anything like this before. Prince William looked exactly like Princess Diana had looked 25 years ago when she visited AIDS patients and held dying children. The same gentleness, the same genuine care, the same ability to make suffering people feel dignity and love. As the afternoon passed, William realized he had found something he had been searching for his whole life. This was his true calling. Sarah, the nurse, could not stop thinking about what she had witnessed. Prince William had stayed at the hospital for 3 whole hours. She had watched him move from room to room, like an angel bringing comfort to every sick child. The image that stuck in her mind was of the prince sitting cross-legged on the floor surrounded by children. His formal suit was completely wrinkled. His royal composure had melted away into pure human kindness. Without thinking about consequences, Sarah quietly took out her phone. She captured one perfect photograph. In the picture, Prince William was holding Jake's hand while Emma sat close beside them. Other children were gathered around listening to his stories. The prince's face showed the same gentle expression that Princess Diana was famous for. His eyes sparkled with genuine love and concern. Sarah looked at the photo on her phone screen. Something about it felt magical. It showed a side of royalty that people rarely got to see. This was not a staged publicity event with professional photographers and perfect lighting. This was real life. This was authentic human connection happening in a place where children fought for their lives every day. That evening, Sarah was at home making dinner when she decided to share the photo. She posted it on her personal social media account with a simple message. She wrote about how Prince William had visited the children's ward without any announcement. She described how he had made every sick child feel special and important. She said it reminded her of Princess Diana's famous compassion. The response was immediate and overwhelming. Sarah's friends began sharing the photo within minutes. Then their friends shared it. Soon people Sarah had never met were commenting and reposting the image. The photo spread across different social media platforms like wildfire. Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok were suddenly filled with the same beautiful image. By midnight, millions of people around the world had seen the photograph. Comments poured in from every country. People wrote about how the image made them cry happy tears. They said Prince William looked exactly like his mother when she hugged AIDS patients and comforted dying children. The hashtag Diana's son began trending worldwide. Meanwhile, Prince William was at home completely unaware of what was happening online. He had returned to Kensington Palace feeling emotionally drained but deeply satisfied. The visit to the hospital had touched something deep in his soul. He spent the evening reading bedtime stories to his own children. Prince George asked why his father seemed so happy. William told his son about meeting brave children who were much sicker than anyone should ever have to be. Kate noticed that her husband seemed different. There was a glow in his eyes that had not been there for months. When she asked about his day, William described meeting Emma and Jake. He talked about holding tiny hands and listening to incredible stories of courage. Kate could see that something important had happened to her husband that day. It was Kate who first discovered the viral photo. Her phone started buzzing with notifications around 10 o'clock. Friends and family members were sending her links to social media posts. At first, Kate thought there might be some kind of emergency or scandal. But when she opened the first link, she gasped out loud. The photograph was absolutely beautiful. It captured William in a way that official royal portraits never could. He looked relaxed, genuine, and completely focused on the children around him. Kate called for William to come see what was happening online. When he looked at the viral photo on Kate's phone, his face showed the same shy smile that Princess Diana used to have when caught being genuinely kind. William did not panic or worry about palace protocols being broken. He did not call his press team or worry about damage control. Instead, he simply said something that surprised Kate. He said he hoped the attention would help more people learn about the children's hospital. He said maybe more people would want to help sick children if they saw how brave and wonderful those kids really were. The photo continued spreading throughout the night. News websites picked up the story. Television programs planned segments about it. Royal correspondents scrambled to understand what had happened. But William went to sleep that night, thinking only about his promise to return to visit Emma and Jake again soon. The next morning brought chaos to Buckingham Palace. Royal staff members arrived at work to find their phones ringing constantly. Reporters were calling from newspapers and television stations around the world. Everyone wanted to know about Prince William's surprise hospital visit. The viral photo had created the biggest royal news story in months. Simon, the palace press secretary, was having the worst morning of his career. He had no prepared statements because nobody had told him about William's hospital visit. There were no official photographs because no royal photographers had been present. The entire visit had happened without any of the usual planning and preparation that royal events required. Traditional royal advisors were deeply worried. They gathered in an emergency meeting to discuss what they called the William situation. Some of them believed the prince had made a serious mistake. Royal protocol existed for good reasons. Security had been compromised. Media relations had been ignored. The spontaneous nature of the visit went against decades of careful royal tradition. But other advisors saw something different in the massive positive response online. They recognized that this viral moment was exactly what the royal family needed. For years, Critics had called the royals out of touch and irrelevant. Young people especially seemed uninterested in the monarchy. But this photograph had captured the attention and hearts of millions of people worldwide. King Charles received updates about the situation throughout the morning. His private secretary showed him the viral photo and explained how quickly it had spread across social media. Charles studied the image carefully. He saw his son looking exactly like Diana had looked during her most famous charitable moments. The similarity was remarkable and deeply moving. Charles remembered the difficulties Diana had faced when she broke royal protocol to hug AIDS patients and shake hands with homeless people. Many palace advisors had criticized her hands-on approach to charity work back then. They worried she was making the royal family look undignified. But history had proven Diana right. Her genuine compassion had made the monarchy more popular and relevant than it had been in generations. When Charles called William that morning, the conversation was brief but meaningful. Charles told his son that he was proud of what he had done at the hospital. He said the viral photo reminded him of the best aspects of Diana's legacy. Charles gave William his full support and told him to ignore any criticism from traditional royal advisors. Queen Camilla had a different perspective on the situation. She had lived through the public's complicated relationship with Diana's memory. Camilla knew that comparisons between William and his mother could be both positive and challenging. But when she saw the hospital photograph, even Camilla felt moved by its genuine emotion. Camilla told her friends privately that William had found his authentic voice as a future king. She said the photograph showed him being natural and real in a way that formal royal events never could capture. She believed this kind of genuine public service was exactly what the modern monarchy needed to survive and thrive. The palace staff had mixed reactions to the viral moment. Older employees who remembered Princess Diana were deeply touched by seeing William channel his mother's compassion. They shared the viral photo in their private WhatsApp groups and talked about how proud Diana would have been of her son. Younger staff members were excited by the massive positive response online. They had grown up with social media and understood its power. They could see that this viral moment had accomplished more positive publicity for the royal family than months of carefully planned events had achieved. Prince Harry called his brother from California when he saw the viral photo. The conversation between the brothers was warm and supportive despite their recent difficulties. Harry told William that seeing him with those sick children reminded him of their mother's greatest moments. He said Diana would be incredibly proud of what William had done. Princess Anne, known for her no-nonsense approach to royal duties, also supported William's spontaneous hospital visit. She had always believed that genuine public service mattered more than formal protocols. Anne told family members that William had shown real leadership by following his instincts to help those children. By the end of the day, the royal family had reached a consensus. William's viral hospital visit was not a protocol mistake to be managed or covered up. Instead, it was a golden opportunity to show the world what modern royalty could look like. The photograph had demonstrated that the royal family could be both dignified and genuinely caring. The official palace response was carefully crafted but warm. They confirmed that Prince William had made a private visit to meet children who had written to him. They said the prince was honored to spend time with such brave young people. Most importantly, they announced that the royal family would be increasing their support for children's hospitals across the country. That evening, William felt supported by his family in a way he had not experienced since his mother's death. The viral moment had not only touched millions of strangers around the world, it had also reminded his own family of the power of authentic compassion in public service. Newsrooms across London woke up to the biggest royal story in years. The viral photograph of Prince William at the Children's Hospital had caught every major media outlet completely off guard. Royal correspondents who usually received advance notice of all royal activities were scrambling to understand what had happened. This was not a planned publicity event. There had been no press releases, no official photographers, and no prepared statements. Rebecca, a veteran royal reporter for the BBC, had covered the royal family for 15 years. She had never seen anything like this spontaneous hospital visit. Usually, royal events were planned weeks or months in advance. Security teams conducted detailed preparations. Media were given specific guidelines about what they could and could not report. But this visit had happened with no warning to anyone. Rebecca and her team rushed to the hospital to interview staff members who had witnessed Prince William's visit. Sarah, the nurse, was overwhelmed by all the attention her viral photo had created. She told Rebecca that she had simply wanted to share a beautiful moment that showed the prince's genuine kindness. She never expected the image to spread around the world so quickly. The hospital's chief administrator, Dr. Williams, was both excited and nervous about all the media attention. He confirmed that Prince William had spent 3 hours visiting sick children without any advance notice. He described how the prince had moved from room to room, spending individual time with each child. Dr. Williams said it was the most genuine display of compassion he had ever witnessed from any public figure. International media picked up the story within hours. American television networks ran special segments comparing Prince William to Princess Diana. CNN showed split-screen images of Diana hugging AIDS patients in the 1980s next to the new viral photo of William sitting with sick children. The similarities were striking and emotionally powerful. European newspapers ran front-page headlines about the return of Diana's legacy. French magazines called William Le Prince du Peuple, which meant the People's Prince. German television programs discussed how the British royal family was modernizing through authentic compassion rather than formal ceremonies. Social media exploded with professional analysis and personal reactions. Royal biographers were invited onto talk shows to explain the significance of William's spontaneous hospital visit. Dr. Sarah Bradford, who had written extensively about Princess Diana, appeared on multiple programs to discuss the parallels between mother and son. The hashtag Diana's son continued trending worldwide for 3 days. Millions of people shared their own stories about times when small acts of kindness had made huge differences in their lives. The conversation expanded beyond royal watching into broader discussions about leadership, compassion, and genuine public service. Royal photographer Arthur Edwards, who had covered the royal family for decades, provided important historical context. He explained that Princess Diana had revolutionized royal public appearances by showing genuine emotion and physical affection. Before Diana, royal family members maintained formal distance from the public. Diana changed that by hugging people, sitting on hospital beds, and getting down to children's eye level. Edwards said that Prince William's viral hospital visit showed he had inherited his mother's natural instinct for connecting with people who were suffering. The photographer noted that William's body language in the viral photo was identical to Diana's famous compassionate poses. The way he knelt down to talk to children, the gentle expression on his face, and his complete focus on their needs all echoed his mother's approach. Television programs around the world showed compilation videos comparing old footage of Princess Diana with new images of Prince William. The emotional impact was incredible. Viewers could see clearly how Diana's legacy of compassion was continuing through her son. Many people commented that they felt like Diana's spirit was alive again through William's actions. Royal historians provided deeper analysis of what this viral moment meant for the future of the British monarchy. They explained that public opinion of the royal family had been declining among younger generations. Many young people saw the royals as outdated and irrelevant to modern life. But this authentic display of compassion had captured the attention and admiration of people who had never cared about royal news before. The economic impact of the positive media coverage was significant. Tourism boards reported increased interest in visiting Britain. Royal merchandise sales jumped dramatically. Most importantly, donations to children's hospitals across the country increased by hundreds of thousands of pounds as people were inspired by William's example. By the end of the week, media analysis concluded that Prince William's spontaneous hospital visit had accomplished something that years of planned royal events had failed to achieve. It had made the royal family feel relevant, caring, and genuinely committed to public service. The viral photograph had become one of the most powerful royal images in modern history. Entertainment media also embraced the story. Celebrity magazines ran features about how Prince William was raising his own children to be compassionate like their grandmother Diana. Fashion magazines analyzed how William's wrinkled suit in the hospital photo made him look more approachable and human than his usual formal appearances. The media frenzy surrounding the viral hospital visit created a new template for royal public relations. Authenticity and genuine emotion proved more powerful than perfectly staged events. William had shown that modern royalty could be both dignified and deeply human at the same time. Back at the children's hospital, something magical was happening that no one had expected. The children who had met Prince William could not stop talking about their special visitor. Emma had become the most popular child on the entire ward because everyone wanted to hear about the nice prince who had answered her crayon letter. She told her story dozens of times to anyone who would listen. Emma's version of events grew more detailed with each telling. She described how Prince William had knelt down on the floor to talk to her at eye level. She remembered every word he had said about his own children. She was especially excited that he had promised Prince George and Princess Charlotte would love to meet her someday. Emma began drawing pictures of their meeting, showing herself and the prince as stick figures holding hands under a rainbow. Jake's transformation was even more remarkable. The little boy who had been too weak to sit up was now animated and chatty in ways the medical staff had not seen in months. He told everyone about the funny voices Prince William had made when describing his children. Jake practiced imitating the prince's stories, making other children giggle with his dramatic retellings. Dr. Peterson, the hospital's child psychologist, noticed immediate changes in Jake's behavior and mood. The boy was asking fewer questions about being scared and more questions about when the prince might come back. Jake had started eating better and sleeping more peacefully. His parents were amazed by the positive change in their son's attitude toward his treatment. Other children in the ward who had not personally met Prince William were fascinated by Emma and Jake's stories. They gathered around during story time to hear about the real prince who sat on the floor and made everyone laugh. Some of the younger children asked if princes were always nice, or if Prince William was special. Emma always answered that he was the nicest person she had ever met. The nursing staff observed that the entire atmosphere of the children's ward had changed since Prince William's visit. Children were more cooperative during medical procedures. They complained less about taking medicine. Many of them asked when they might meet a real prince too. The hope and excitement generated by one spontaneous visit was having therapeutic effects throughout the entire floor. Word spread to other parts of the hospital as well. Children in different wards heard about the prince's visit and wanted to know why he had not come to see them too. This created a beautiful problem for the hospital staff. They had to explain that Prince William had come to visit specific children, but that all the patients were equally brave and special. Parents of the children William had visited were overwhelmed with gratitude and emotion. Emma's mother, Lisa, could barely speak when reporters asked her about the prince's impact on her daughter. She said that Emma had been sad and frightened for weeks before the visit, but now her daughter was full of joy and hope again. Lisa said Prince William had given her family the most precious gift imaginable. Jake's father, Michael, described how his son had been giving up hope before the prince's visit. The little boy had stopped asking about going home or playing with his toys. But after meeting Prince William, Jake was making plans for what he wanted to do when he got better. Michael said the prince had somehow reminded his son that life was worth fighting for. The viral photo of Prince William's visit inspired other sick children around the world. Social media was filled with pictures of children in hospitals holding signs asking if princes would visit them too. Parents shared stories of their own children's battles with illness and how much hope the viral image had given their families. Children's hospitals in other cities reported increased interest from potential volunteers after seeing Prince William's example. People wanted to spend time with sick children the way the prince had done. Hospital administrators across the country began receiving calls from individuals asking how they could help make children smile the way Prince William had done. The hospital where William had made his surprise visit began receiving hundreds of cards and letters addressed to the Prince Who Cares and Emma's Prince. Children from schools around the world sent drawings and messages of support. The hospital's mailroom was overwhelmed with packages containing toys, books, and handmade gifts for the young patients. Most remarkably, other children began writing their own crayon letters to Prince William. The palace received dozens of colorful envelopes similar to Emma's original letter. Children drew pictures of themselves meeting the prince. They wrote about their own brothers and sisters who needed help. They asked if Prince William could visit their hospitals too. Emma started her own project inspired by the prince's visit. She began writing letters to other sick children in different hospitals around the country. With her mother's help, she sent drawings and encouraging messages to children she had never met. Emma said she learned from Prince William that making other people smile was the most important job anyone could have. Jake decided he wanted to become a prince when he grew up, so he could visit sick children like Prince William had visited him. His parents gently explained that becoming a prince was not something you could choose to do. But they told him he could choose to be kind and helpful like a prince every day of his life. The children's response to Prince William's visit proved that genuine human connection could be more powerful than any medicine. Their joy and renewed hope became a beacon of light that inspired millions of people around the world. Emma's simple crayon letter had created a chain reaction of compassion that was spreading far beyond anyone's imagination. The viral photograph of Prince William at the Children's Hospital had touched something much deeper than simple admiration for a royal doing charity work. People around the world were responding to the image with an emotional intensity that surprised everyone, including media experts and social media analysts. The public reaction revealed a hunger for authentic leadership and genuine human connection that had been building for years. Comments on social media platforms were not just praising Prince William's actions. Instead, people were sharing deeply personal stories about their own experiences with hospitals, sick children, and moments when small acts of kindness had changed their entire perspective on life. The viral photo had become a catalyst for millions of people to express their own needs for compassion and hope. Maria, a single mother from Manchester, wrote a long post about how the image reminded her of when her daughter had cancer 3 years earlier. She described the loneliness and fear she had felt sitting beside her child's hospital bed night after night. Maria said that seeing Prince William give his time and attention to sick children made her feel like her own daughter's suffering had mattered to someone important. Her post was shared thousands of times by other parents who understood her emotions completely. Healthcare workers from around the world began sharing their own stories in response to the viral photo. Dr. James, a pediatric oncologist from Scotland, posted about how rare it was to see public figures genuinely connect with sick children rather than just posing for quick photographs. He said Prince William's body language in the viral image showed real listening and authentic care. His professional perspective helped other people understand why the prince's hospital visit felt so different from typical celebrity charity appearances. The viral moment created unexpected conversations about leadership and what people really wanted from their public figures. Political commentators noted that the massive positive response to Prince William's hospital visit revealed public frustration with leaders who seemed disconnected from ordinary people's struggles. The prince's willingness to sit on a hospital floor and hold sick children's hands represented the kind of humble service that people were desperately seeking from their leaders. Teachers began using the viral photo in their classrooms to discuss kindness and service to others. Children were asked to write essays about times when someone had shown them unexpected compassion. Parents reported that their children were asking more questions about how they could help people who were suffering. The image had become an educational tool for discussing empathy and human connection. Mental health professionals observed that the viral photo was providing hope to people who were struggling with depression and loneliness. The image seemed to remind viewers that genuine human connection was still possible, even in a world that often felt cold and disconnected. Therapists reported that patients were bringing up the photo in sessions and talking about their own desires to feel truly seen and cared for by others. Religious leaders from different faiths praised Prince William's hospital visit as an example of love in action. Ministers, rabbis, and imams used the viral photo in their sermons to illustrate the power of serving others without expecting anything in return. The prince's simple act of kindness had transcended religious boundaries and spoken to universal human values. Social media influencers and celebrities began sharing the viral photo with their own reflections on service and compassion. But unlike typical celebrity posts, these responses felt genuine and personal rather than calculated for publicity. Famous people were admitting their own struggles with staying connected to what really mattered in life. The viral photo had given them permission to be vulnerable and real with their audiences. The economic impact of the public's emotional response was significant and unexpected. Charitable donations to children's hospitals increased dramatically across multiple countries. Volunteer applications at hospitals and care facilities rose by hundreds of percent. People were not just feeling moved by Prince William's example. They were taking concrete action to follow his lead in their own communities. Psychologists studied the viral phenomenon and concluded that the public response revealed several important social needs. People were hungry for authentic leadership that showed vulnerability alongside strength. They wanted to see powerful figures using their influence to help rather than to gain more power or attention. Most importantly, they needed to believe that genuine human kindness still existed and could make a real difference. The viral photo also sparked conversations about Princess Diana's lasting impact on public expectations of royalty and leadership. People shared memories of how Diana had made them feel when she broke protocol to hug AIDS patients or sit with homeless people. The comparison between mother and son helped people understand why Prince William's hospital visit felt so significant and emotionally satisfying. International polls showed that Prince William's popularity had increased dramatically across all age groups and demographics. But more importantly, general optimism about human nature and the possibility of positive change had also increased in the weeks following the viral photo. People reported feeling more hopeful about the world and more motivated to perform acts of kindness in their own lives. The viral moment had revealed that beneath all the cynicism and division in modern society, people still believed in the power of love and compassion. Prince William's simple decision to visit sick children had reminded millions of people around the world of their own capacity for goodness and their deep desire to matter to each other in meaningful ways. Prince William's viral hospital visit had created something nobody expected. A movement of kindness was spreading across the world like ripples in a pond. The simple image of him sitting on a hospital floor with sick children had inspired millions of people to look for ways they could bring comfort to others in their own communities. What started with one 7-year-old girl's crayon letter was becoming a global phenomenon of compassion. Celebrity figures began making their own unannounced visits to hospitals, schools, and community centers. But these were not publicity stunts designed to copy Prince William's viral success. Instead, famous people were genuinely inspired to use their influence in more meaningful ways. Soccer star Marcus Rashford quietly visited a children's home in Birmingham. Singer Ed Sheeran spent an afternoon at a cancer ward in London. These visits happened without media announcements or professional photographers. The hashtag Diana Effect evolved beyond social media trend into a call to action. People were sharing stories of small acts of kindness they had performed after being inspired by Prince William's example. A businessman in Tokyo started visiting elderly patients at a local hospital every weekend. A group of teenagers in New York began reading to children at their neighborhood library. Mothers in Sydney organized regular visits to bring homemade cookies to healthcare workers. Schools across multiple countries began organizing their own community service projects inspired by the viral hospital visit. Students were visiting care homes for elderly people, writing letters to isolated seniors, and organizing fundraisers for local charities. Teachers reported that children were more excited about helping others than they had ever seen before. The viral photo had given young people a concrete example of how small actions could create big impacts. Prince William received thousands of letters from people describing how his hospital visit had motivated them to reach out to others. A retired teacher from Wales wrote about starting a program to visit children who were afraid of going to school. a former soldier from Canada, described how he began volunteering at a veteran support center. Each letter told a story of someone who had been moved to action by seeing authentic compassion in practice. The hospital where everything had started became a symbol of hope that attracted support from around the world. Medical equipment was donated by companies inspired by the viral story. New treatment programs were funded by individuals who wanted to honor Prince William's example. Most importantly, the number of volunteers spending time with young patients increased dramatically. The hospital's volunteer coordinator had to create a waiting list because so many people wanted to help. Local businesses near the hospital began contributing in their own ways. A nearby bakery started delivering fresh bread to families staying with sick children. A toy store donated games and books for the children's ward. A florist brought fresh flowers every week to brighten the hospital rooms. The spirit of giving had spread throughout the entire neighborhood. Other royal families around the world took notice of the positive response to Prince William's authentic approach to public service. Crown princes and princesses in different countries began making their own surprise visits to charitable organizations. The traditional model of formal royal appearances was being quietly replaced by more personal and genuine forms of public engagement. Medical professionals observed that the increased volunteer presence at hospitals was having measurable therapeutic benefits for patients. Children were recovering faster when they had more human interaction and emotional support. Elderly patients were showing improved mental health when volunteers spent time listening to their stories. The ripple effect of Prince William's visit was literally helping people heal. International charitable organizations reported unprecedented increases in both donations and volunteer applications. People were not just giving money to feel good about themselves. They were giving their time and personal attention to people who needed human connection. The viral photo had demonstrated that presence and compassion were often more valuable than financial contributions alone. Universities began studying the phenomenon as an example of how authentic leadership could inspire positive social change. Business schools analyzed how Prince William's genuine approach to service had accomplished more positive publicity than expensive marketing campaigns ever could. The viral hospital visit became a case study in the power of authentic human connection and leadership. Religious communities found that their members were more engaged in service projects after discussing Prince William's hospital visit. Congregations organized visits to nursing homes, hospitals, and homeless shelters. The prince's example had reminded people of faith that service to others was at the heart of most religious teachings. Churches, mosques, and temples reported increased participation in charitable activities. The ripple effect extended to international relations as well. Diplomatic missions began organizing cultural exchange programs focused on healthcare and social services. Countries started sharing best practices for caring for vulnerable populations. Prince William's simple act of kindness had created conversations about compassion that crossed national boundaries. Emma's original crayon letter had grown into something far beyond what anyone could have imagined. The 7-year-old girl who just wanted her sick brother to smile had accidentally started a global movement of people looking for ways to bring hope to others. The viral photo of Prince William had shown the world that authentic leadership looked like someone willing to sit on the floor and hold a child's hand. 6 months after the viral hospital visit, research showed that charitable giving had increased by 30% worldwide. Volunteer rates at healthcare facilities had doubled in many countries. Most remarkably, surveys indicated that general levels of hope and optimism had increased among people who had been exposed to the viral story and its ripple effects. Prince William had channeled his mother's grace in ways that transformed not just his own understanding of royal service, but the entire world's expectations of what leadership could look like when it was grounded in genuine human compassion.